Okay, the morning after the night before. Oh boy, where do we start with this? Um, right. So we've had the Ring Magazine Times Square show over. Um, one good thing for us here in the UK. It was in New York, so the time difference is not as bad as it had been if it was on the West Coast. So this show was over and done with by 3 a.m. Yeah, it's still late, but it's not. It's workable. It was workable for me anyway. I was still awake and all half eight, able to get up, do my normal day, and well, so far anyway. And it was all right in that sense. So that was one good thing about having it in New York. The Times Square concept, I liked the idea of it. It sounded epic on paper. You can't knock something until you try it, but I don't want to see that again. I personally, fight camp with Eddie Hearn, that worked. I felt that worked. That was a very small audience in his back garden, and obviously the first fight camp he didn't have any people at it at all. The second one he did, and again I enjoyed it. I really thought it was a good little concept. I'm disappointed that he's not brought it back, but I guess he's not really got the stable of fighters to be able to do a consistent fight camp. I get it, fair enough, but I enjoyed that. I did enjoy it. In the US, it's primarily indoor arenas. Canelo's done a few stadiums. He'll most likely be doing a stadium in September when he fights Crawford. And the atmosphere in those stadiums is quite good. The UK, we're getting a lot more stadium fights, and as I said, the atmosphere in those stadiums is electric. In the US, primarily MSG, Barclays Center, whether you go to Las Vegas, MGM, or the T-Mobile, there's always a good atmosphere in those arenas. The atmosphere was, it was not great, to say the least. As I said in the post-fight review, you noticed the sirens and the beeping of the horns more so than you did certain things that were going on. And I think that did have a negative impact on the fights and how they went. In terms of the card itself, they opened the card with a amateur fight, which is very rare. You see one of them, extremely rare on a pro show. It was, I can't remember their names, but one of them was a cop, NYPD, the other one was a firefighter, on the Firefighter 1. It was just that, just get the kind of, appetite ready for the main card. But that Japanese fighter, he looked talented. He really did. The guy he was fighting, man, I'd love to see the two guys who beat him. Well, that guy actually has a bit of ability there, really does. Matchmaking, Jim Lampy said it on commentary, matchmaking is really important. Have a talented fighter, you match him, kamikaze, he's going to have losses. But I'd like to see that guy, I'd see the American guy, I'd like to see him actually make a go of it and be matched right, because again, took a bit of a beating in there, but yeah, he's got ability there. Very tough opponent for your pro debut. Let me get into the main card. Let's talk about this. So, Lopez, Barbosa, hold my hands up, got that one way wrong. We haven't seen Tio to take over in a while. We've seen him against Lomachenko. We've seen him against Josh Taylor. The rest of the time, we've seen this bang average Teofimo Lopez, who arguably could have lost at least two fights on top of the George Kambosos fight. Some people feel that Ortiz felt that he beat him, and that was a very close fight. It could have went either way. A lot of people feel Sandor Martin, who's a nightmare for anyone to fight, beat him as well. He actually dropped Teofimo Lopez in that fight, not heavily, but I think it was more slip than anything else, but he's still sufficiently a knockdown. So he's had some dodgy performances. The punching power at 140 pounds doesn't seem quite there, to be honest with you. He was stunned at one stage in this fight by Barbosa, but other than that, he looked absolutely $1 million in there. He really did. It's frustrating with Lopez because he has that in his game, but we don't see it enough. We just do not see it enough, and that is so frustrating. He did call out Boots Ennis. Listen, you will need to be the takeover times 10 to go in there and beat Boots Ennis. I'd love to see it. Take my money if it's on pay-per-view, no problem. Love to see it. I hope they do it. But Lopez, we need that Lopez and the rest, because Barbosa, who is a good fighter, he's not a bad fighter, Arnold Barbosa Jr., certainly not. We need it's night and day. Boots Ennis is incredible, and it's at welterweight, so big improvement on that is needed, because Boots warrants that improvement. Not to say it was a bad performance by Lopez, it certainly wasn't. Devin Haney. Oh boy. Um, I watched the full Lopez Barbosa fight. I didn't do a review on it at the time. I said I'd really save it for the main event. Um, I thought about, depending on how the Haney fight goes, doing a review of that. I got 2 rounds in and I fell asleep. And thank God I woke up. I was very lucky. I dozed off and I still had obviously it playing in the background, and I ended up waking up just as the 12th round was concluding. And a part of me was thinking, oh crap, have I missed a good fight? And then when I heard Jim Lampley, and this is what I miss. I miss commentators like Jim Lampley who don't give a damn, and they take digs at the fighters, especially the fighters who give us an absolute horrible fight like that apparently was. Once I seen the punch stats, I was like, this can't be right. This is a 147-pound fight. They didn't weigh in anywhere near that, but you get what I mean. The punch stats cannot be that low. Apparently Devin Haney just ran around the ring and Ramirez followed. That's it. So thank God I missed that. And we thought then, and so did the commentary team, that the main event would be the main thing. Apart from the second round, it was a horrible fight to watch. It really was. I don't know what's wrong with Ryan Garcia. Rowley did well. I give him all the credit in the world for that, but I don't know what happened to Ryan Garcia. It just... As a whole, I think this event, the concept needed to be tried. I absolutely think that it was definitely something that we needed to try and we needed to see. Turkey has been talking about doing shows, maybe in London, Trafalgar Square. Listen, I think that this was a concept, as I said, we needed to try. We've seen it, and stadiums and arenas, that's it. I don't personally, for me, I don't think this concept is going to work. I really don't. I do believe that some of the fights, like Ryan versus Rowley, maybe even Devin to an extent, had there been a more lively crowd, and best believe, how many people were there? There wasn't a crazy amount. Best believe that if they were in, say, the Barclays Arena or MSG, the boos would have been just, you couldn't have been able to ignore them. They would have both, Devin and Ryan, would have been booed out of the building during their respective fights, because the American fans, they don't let you away with that. They really don't. And I think for me, it maybe took a little bit away from the performances of some of the fighters. Now, again, Teofimo Lopez, fighter of the night, in my opinion, great performance. The other two, I couldn't believe what I was seeing at Ryan Garcia. And I know I said at the time, and I stand by this, I don't think Jim Lampley's explanation is correct, that he felt Rowley's power and was put in his place. No, because Luke Campbell at 135, that was a much heavier knockdown that Ryan Garcia was hit with in the second round of their fight a couple of years ago. Much heavier, he was much more hurt. And that didn't stop him. It didn't deter him at all. But in this fight, and again, he was buzzed by the shot, the left hook. But the second left hook was more, by him on his forearm, it was more a balance thing when he went down. He wasn't hurt. So it kind of had me thinking like, well, what's going on here? What's wrong? And he just fought like someone who just went through the motions, was happy to be there almost, which is not something you want to be saying or seeing. And I don't know, to me, he kind of fought like someone who knew, and then Devin as well, they knew they had a fight lined up, get through this unscathed, and just do nothing. That's how it seemed. So it was, it didn't make for a compelling viewing. I have to be honest, it didn't make for compelling viewing. Again, I go back to, don't knock it till you try it. You've tried it now, don't want to see it again. An event like that. Certainly an event like that in MSG with those three names, lovely. See it any day of the week, do it again. But Times Square, Trafalgar Square, places like that, no, I don't think personally. I think that you can do an outdoor event like that if it's done right. And I think, again, Fight Camp was a good example. That was done right. But yeah, for me, that just didn't do it for me. That just didn't do it for me. So that's my opinion on that. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below on the show as a whole. What did you think? Were you surprised by, well, I would imagine Ryan losing is probably the biggest surprise, but let me know. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed the video as always, people. Smash the like button if you could, hit subscribe as always. Until next time, later. Peace.